Hi friends, how are you? I hope you are doing well. So in this video we will learn about the use callback hook. Earlier we already seen 2-3 hooks. So in this video we will learn about the use callback. So what is the use callback hook? So the React use callback hook return memoized callback function. And second thing, the use callback hook only run when the dependency will update. And why this use callback hook we are using to improve the performance. So what happen if we see in the practical exam? So what happen, there is a component, and inside that component there are multiple components like Todo's component, user component, movies component. There are multiple components. So what happen if there are any state and we want to change the state. So if we change the state, it means that all component inside that component will re-render again. That is not necessary. That we don't want to re-render again. So we want that we want to load only that component in which there are some changes. So in that scenario we use the use callback hook. So it will improve the performance. And when it will run we will create a use callback hook like this. So what happen if there are two doors? So inside the two doors, if there is a state variable, so if there are in this state variable change, then this callback hook will call, and it will return a callback memoized callback function, and the two doors will call only once inside the two doors there are changes inside the two doors. So use callback and useMemo, both hooks are similar. So difference is that the useMemo method will return memoized value, and use callback return memoized function, like a memoized callback function. So both a use callback and useMemo both are used to improve the performance of our React application. So now let's see with the example. So I already created example in this. So let's see with code. So what happened, this is a component, and inside the component there are two states. First is count and second is to doors. We want if there are any changes inside this count variable, so what happened, this all component will re-render. And if there are this two doors component, we are rendering our two doors inside the two doors component. What happened if there are inside the two doors component, this is the very big component, this have there are many dependent component as well inside this component. So what happen if we change in this count state, so this whole component will re-render again. Then we want that if there are any changes inside these two doors, we are sending two doors as a probe from this into this two doors component. And what is the two doors here? Two doors initially the two doors is blank, and this is the we are passing the method as a probes. So inside the two doors, so when then I'm calling from child component we are calling this add to doors method from the child component. So when we want that when click on this add to doors button, so we want that when click on this add to doors button, then this add to doors method will work, and only that scenario this to doors component will re-render. Otherwise if I change this, if I increment this one, so this to doors component should not be re-rendered. So what happen now? So we will see that if I click to add to doors button, now we are able to see that a child is re-rendering. So now inside the child component there is a method add to doors, and this method already declared are into parent component. So in parent component we are setting set to doors. So we are set to doors, and we are adding some item inside the set to doors. So if I click again, then this re-render method re-render child component will load again. And same again if I increment the counter value, this method will the child component will re-rendering again. So when I click on this count button, I want that there are no any dependency inside the to doors. So I don't want to re-render this component when I change this increment button. So this now what happened now currently when I'm changing this current variable, the child component re-rendering again and again, and there are no any dependency of count variable inside the to dos. So I want when there are any there are changes inside the to dos, like when I add this new item in this to do, then only this to dos component will re-render again. So now what happening now, if this component is there are many component inside that component, so it will decrease our performance of our React application, because I just click on this button and this state will change, and it means that you are re-rendering whole component again. If whole component will re-render again, then this to those component will also re-render again. That is not required right now. And if there are more component also here, so that component will again re-render, so it will decrease the performance. So I want only that when we want to add, if there are any certain changes inside the to-dos, only that scenario this to-dos component will be re-rendered. So now we can how can we achieve this? We can achieve by using the callback hook. So using the callback hook, what I am doing now, so I am passing to-dos, all to-dos, and this add to-dos method as a props into the child, and inside the child method, inside the to-dos, I am just iterating all the to-dos, and there is a button. So when I click on this button, so what happened, this as a props, we are getting this add to-do method as a props, so we are declaring the definition inside the parent function. So this add to-dos method will work. So if there are any changes inside the to-dos method, then this set to-dos will we use callback, it will return the memoized function. So if there are no changes inside this to-dos, so this add to-dos, this method, this use callback, in that scenario set to-dos set to-dos are previously, so there are no any changes. If I click on this increment button, then only count increment will be work, and if I click on this add to do button, then we are setting the new, we are adding the new item in this set to dos. Only that scenario this to dos will work. If I increment this counter, I am saving this one and I am clicking this, so I am clicking here, there are no changes inside the child component, there are no re-rendering of this child component. So this component is now not re-rendering because there are no any changes inside the to-dos. So this component is not re-rendering. And what happen if I add new to-do, I am adding this, now this child component re-render, again I am rendering, I add the new to-do, only that scenario this child component, this to-dos component will be re-rendering. And if I incrementing the value, what happening, there are no any child component will re-rendering. So now if I click on this increment button, so I am just incrementing this count value, but this component will not re-rendering, so it will improve our performance of our React application. And when I we are passing these one method and to-dos as a props into the to-dos component, and when I click on this to-dos button, then this add to-do method will call from into the parent component, and inside the parent component I already memoized this function. And if there are no changes inside the to-dos, so if I click the increment button, it means that we are not adding any new to-dos. So it means we are not any new to-dos, it means we don't want to re-render this component again. So and if I click on this add to-do button, then in that scenario we want to add some new data in this to-dos. So if the to-dos change, if there are any changes inside this to-dos, in that scenario this to-dos component will render, so it will improve our performance. So this is the smallest, this is very small component, that's why, but there are multiple component, there are to-dos component, user component, and a test nominal component, move each component, multiple component are there. So if I click on this counter button, so what happen, all the component will re-render again and again. So what happening in that scenario, that it will take a time, and it will decrease the performance of our React application. Then now what we want like that, like if there are a user component, if we want like now same thing that if the user component is there, we want the user component will re-render only when we want to add or remove anything inside this user component. In that scenario, we want to re-render user component and to-dos component. Now like this to-dos component will re-render when there are any changes inside this to-dos. So that's why we are using this to-dos. That's why we are using the use callback. So what is the benefit of using the callback? So it will prevent unnecessary re-rendering, as well if there are any certain changes inside our component, then in that scenario only we re-render our component. So and like that there are no any changes inside in that component, then we don't want to re-render the component again. So this is the use callback hook, and also use memo hook also we will learn inside the next video. But there are like this is the most similar with use callback and use memo, both are similar. Difference is that this use callback return a memoized function as well, and this and use memo will return a memoized value. So use memo we will also see in the next video. So can you if you have any doubts, please. So if you have any doubts, so please comment, and please like and subscribe my channel. So and I can there may be confident to me, and so that I can create a video in depth as well. I'm trying to creating videos as per my best understanding. So please like and subscribe my channel. Thank you everyone.